Lando Norris, the current Formula 1 driver right now that drives for McLaren F1 team, and as of right now, he is currently P2 in the standings. What we're going to be talking about today basically is just simple, the fact that he's been making so many mistakes and he has not been performing as good as he could be. And today or yesterday was a perfect example. He had qualified horribly in Canada. The McLarens did not look like they were the best car in Canada. And he was driving his way up through the field. He looked like he was about to be catching Oscar Piastri, who was catching Kimi Antonelli. And then he makes a move that was stupid in general because I was watching the race on my phone. And even I'm like, all right, he seems to be going for a move that's not there. There was no room he was going to be having if he tried to make the move. If he had gone to instead of going to the inside, how he cut around and gone around the outside, he would have perfectly got around Oscar Piastri and been able to go after Kimi Antonelli for P3, which would have gained him points on Oscar Piastri in the championship standings. But ultimately, he ended up losing championship points, and he ended up finishing 18th and caused a safety car, which actually ended the race, considering it cost his teammate actually a possibility of catching Kimi Antonelli, because I believe that Oscar Piastri still had enough pace to go and catch him. And this is not the only time that Lando Norris has made a mistake like this. If you guys do remember, he made a mistake like this back in Saudi Arabia in qualifying. He's made a couple mistakes in qualifying that have cost him. He's put himself in positions where he's had to overtake multiple cars just to get back up to Piastri. And it's really cost him a lot in this championship, because let's not forget, in the opening race, he won the Australian Grand Prix. He won. And it seemed like it was going to be a very good Lando Norris year, but then qualifying has just not been his case. He has been not that very good in qualifying. Meanwhile, his teammate Oscar Piastri, I think Oscar Piastri's worst start of the season has been, third or fourth? Meanwhile, Lando Norris has been starting around 7th, 9th in terms of its worst starts this year. And the next track is going to be Austria, which is going to be a very power circuit forward. And the McLaren do still have the best car. Then the McLaren should be qualifying at least in the top 3. And if Lando Norris continues to qualify around P5, P6, there's no way he's going to be able to win the championship. And especially doing moves like this is not going to be able to help. I'm glad that he apologized after the race to his teammate Oscar Piastri, because it was a dumb move. I can't even lie to you. You're going down the inside, and Oscar Piastri was already covering the space that was there. Had you gone around the outside, you were most likely going to be able to overtake your teammate and get up into possibly P3 and possibly P2, because P2 and P1 were 4 or 5 seconds up the road, and there was 3-4 laps left. Who knows what could happen? Lando Norris could have got P2 from Max Verstappen and picked up a ton of more points than Oscar Piastri, but instead he crashed out of the race. And it's just things like this just seem to be costing Lando Norris. And it's also instances where he's behind Max Verstappen and he doesn't want to send it on Verstappen. I do not know why. A couple races ago, he was battling, he was right behind Verstappen, and it just seemed like whenever you would want Lando Norris to make the move down on the inside of Verstappen, he was just too scared to. And you have, in that position, you can't be scared of making the move. Champions like Lewis Hamilton, champions like Fernando Alonso, champions like Sebastian Vettel, Max Verstappen, all of these guys have made these type of moves. Why? Because they know if they really need to and they want to stay in the battle for a championship, or they need the points, they're gonna have to make the move. If it goes badly, it goes badly. If it doesn't, it doesn't. They have to make the move because they know in their minds that they have to be aggressive. And even Lando Norris' teammate Oscar Piastri seems to have that same mentality, because when he's behind Verstappen and he knows that he needs to go for a move, Saudi Arabia, he went down the inside of Max Verstappen and got to position and forced Verstappen off the track. Verstappen ended up, getting a penalty for it, but still, he made that decision to stay down the inside of Max Verstappen, and he ultimately ended up taking the lead of the race. If Lando Norris is not going to be able to make moves like this anymore against a guy like Max Verstappen, who I won't say this right now. I will say this right now. He won't hesitate to make the same move that Lando Norris is afraid of making on him than he will on Lando Norris. So it's things like this that are just going to continue building up on Lando Norris. And hey, I very much like Lando Norris. I'm a big Lando Norris fan. I'm a big Lando Norris fan. I want to see him battle for the championship, but if he continues to make mistakes in qualifying and making these type of mistakes like he did today, it's just going to hurt him in the championship standings, and there's no possibility that we're going to have a championship fight, because this year, it seems like this is going to be the best year for possibly a 3-4 car title fight, because McLaren seem to be running away with the constructors, but the drivers is still all available, because it's only, 40 points from Lando Norris to George Russell, and George Russell won today? Who's to say that for the rest of the season, McLaren don't have the best car, and Mercedes and Red Bull are able to pick it back up, and we're heading into a 4-team fight, or 4-car fight between Piastri, Norris, Verstappen, and Russell. That would be a great championship fight. It would be a very good championship fight to see, and I would love to see that, because I haven't seen a championship fight between 4 cars in a while. The last good championship fight I saw was 2021, where Hamilton was battling Verstappen, and Hamilton got screwed out of an 8 championship by the FIA, basically. But still, and moving on back to the simple point, Lando Norris is a very good driver. He's one of the best that F1 has, and he is McLaren's guy. They have 2 number 1 drivers, but it just seems like, as of this current moment right now, when it comes to the mentality type of standpoint, Oscar Piastri just seems to have it just a bit better than Lando Norris. And if the mistakes are going to continue, Lando Norris will not become an F1 champion. But if Lando Norris in the next couple of races can continue to perform in qualifying and then be performing in the race and not making mistakes like this, Lando Norris could possibly be your 2025 F1 World Champion.